And snow and ice causes havoc for drivers across the UK.
On BBC London in half an hour, the snow brings travel chaos to the capital. And with rail strikes starting tomorrow, a warning of more disruption to come.
The snow, ice and fog have caused travel problems across the UK, particularly in the south of England. All flights at Stansted Airport were suspended overnight, though they've now resumed. And there have also been delays at Heathrow and Gatwick. Train companies have warned passengers to check before travelling. Here's Duncan Kennedy.
It's been a day of constant hazards for the travelling public.
That all-important travel.
Here in Kent, it was the roads that were blanketed with the snow, leaving drivers like this man, shaken but unhurt. For others, it's been hours of energy-sapping clear-ups.
Dean, what do you make of the conditions this morning?
They're great for children, but they're not the best for businesses and commuting.
These are all cars stuck.
The M25 was closed in parts of Hertfordshire, leaving some drivers stranded for 12 hours.
I've never seen snow like it. As soon as I hit the M25, it was just chaos.
In Gloucestershire, a double shunt was caught on camera. Many other drivers have struggled to keep control, ending in collision after collision. In all these cases, no one was seriously hurt.
Watch it, guys, watch it!
At airports, more than 100 flights were cancelled today. At Heathrow, Stansted, Gatwick and Luton, hitting travel for thousands of passengers. Train services were also severely reduced in southern and southeastern areas. Euston, just one of the stations full of people rearranging their plans. Many of those trains and planes will be in the wrong location, which could add to the travel delays for many passengers, although it's reported tonight that all the country's motorways are open. This was Braemar in Scotland, where temperatures dropped to -15. Around 2,500 properties in Shetland are without power. The weather is especially difficult for some elderly people. At the Churchill Retirement Development in Tunbridge, Wales, staying warm is on everyone's mind. How important is it, do you think, to keep warm in these sort of conditions?
Well, it's essential for your health. So, yes, I'm very grateful that I live here.
In East Sussex, 40 people were forced to take refuge at the Bear Inn at Burwash. Hot drinks and mattresses amid the log fires.
We heard that they were taking in stranded people. They were opening their doors and we didn't quite know whether to believe it, so we trekked here.
The effects of the weather will continue tonight, with clear-ups and some disruption ahead. Duncan Kennedy, BBC News in Kent.
Good evening. Londoners woke up to a blanket of snow and a commute from hell this morning. Tubes and trains were delayed and cancelled. Runways were closed at most of our airports. Drivers spent more than 7 hours sat on the M25. Parts of the capital saw more snow than we've had for almost a decade. But one thing was clear, our transport network was not prepared. Simon Harris reports.
For a smart motorway, it wasn't a smart look. In Hertfordshire and Essex, parts of the M25 looked like a cross between a car park and a skating rink. Drivers found themselves stuck for several hours after jackknife lorries blocked the carriageway.
It's quite a scary situation. It's obviously very cold out, so there's no indication of when this is going to be clearing.
There was more gridlock on the M11, where motorists faced the challenge of trying to keep warm without running out of fuel. By this morning, it was the turn of another part of the transport network to fall down. For thousands of commuters, the snow brought an unwelcome early taste of the chaos to come during this week's rail strikes. On both the main line and the underground, trains were cancelled or delayed as points froze, signals failed and drivers were unable to get to their depots. Richard turned up at Elstree and Borehamwood, hoping to get his children Charlotte and Leo back to their home in East London.
Been trying since 7 and every time we look there is a train, then it's delayed, cancelled. So hopefully we're going to try and get on the next one.
Looks like the app was completely wrong. There may be a train in 20-30 minutes potentially, but it's looking bleak.
Were you surprised that there was so much disruption?
No, because we're used to it.
It's now been told that the live updates on the phone app is wrong And the only true updates to what's on the board, and there's no trains going into the city at the moment, which is really frustrating.
One train company, South Eastern, pleaded with passengers to stay at home. But why couldn't the railways cope?
Unfortunately, what's exacerbated the situation a little bit today is that we received a very late forecast of the level of snow that we'd receive. And what that meant is we had less time to prepare than what we normally would.
Currently, there are no city-bound trains from this station.
At Earl's Court, at the height of the rush hour, there were no District Line trains to the city, forcing frustrated commuters to overload the Piccadilly line. Passengers faced long waits on chilly platforms as the Underground struggled.
We're not like a Scandinavian country that keeps huge amounts of resources in the background to make sure that everything is constantly checked and there are huge amounts of people to do all the work. We obviously take a proportionate approach for the amount of snow that we get. We don't have these events very often.
In Hertfordshire, school closures meant parents as well as commuters coming up with a plan B.
It is a bit frustrating. I'm lucky that I've been able to switch my work days this week, but I know a lot of people can't, and it's been really hard.
Some Londoners found their own way around the travel disruption. Whee! But this first snow of winter seemed to take almost everyone by surprise. Simon Harris, ITV News, Hertfordshire.
Well done.
Right, let's return to our top story now. And Essex had the most snow in the country last night, 9 centimetres falling in just 3 hours. Thousands of parents woke up to a winter wonderland and their children's school closed. Across the borough, 137 schools kept their doors shut as teachers were unable to travel and playgrounds were deemed unsafe for little ones. The perfect day then to get out to the park and to build a snowman. Daniel Henry reports.
Big smiles. And even bigger snowmen.
There's a lot of skill that goes into actually making the snowman. We didn't know. We have to pat it out, give it a little massage, smooth it down.
You massage the snowman?
We massage the snowman.
Snowfall can make people do the strangest things.
I can't even feel my hands anymore.
But it can also help families make memories.
They're young, so when they grow up, they can be able to look at this and say, okay, my daddy did it for me, I have to do it for my kid too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what all about the parent, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to have the memory, they have to have your memory of you in their life.
That's
right.
You
know what I'm saying?
That's
yeah.
right.
That's
and
what we're trying to do.
Well, they'll definitely remember being cold in the snow with
my
you.
dad, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that's the memory that you put on the children.
What's the plan for the rest of the day then?
I think we're going to be out here for a few hours maybe. Obviously go back inside, warm up our hands, definitely. This is our last week, isn't it? Yeah. Christmas
Before
holidays
school.
as well.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So Christmas holidays start early then?
Yeah.
Round the corner at the animal sanctuary, some creatures seem better suited to the conditions than others.
So with the clean dry straw, you can just put it up in the corner.
But the weather means that everyone is going that extra mile to look after their furry friends, especially the festive ones.
I mean, the reindeer are very lucky because they love this temperature, but to be fair, they're probably one of the only animals that does enjoy it. The rest of the animals are just trying to keep warm and foraging and looking for food and stuff, so it is harder for them.
Yeah. And is it trickier for you, as the people who are out there delivering that care, looking after them? Is it a trickier day for you than it would be usually?
Yeah, it's very slippery. Lucky enough, we've had no one slip over yet, so that's good. And they're constantly working around trying to just make sure the animals are kept warm and stuff. So yeah, the dedication of the team, you can't fault them.
Back at the park, there's still time for a few selfies before this snowman turns to sludge. Days like this don't come around so often. So when they do, it's no surprise that so many of us want to wrap up warm and get outside. Daniel Henry, ITV News.
Right, we can only go to Sally straight after that. I'm going to get to this tree in a second. But the question I think everybody wants to know the answer to, are we going to have a white Christmas?
Well, wouldn't it be lovely if it was like this?
Yeah.
This is Primrose Hill today. Look at them actually having a blast down there. I'm so jealous. Here we are slaving away, Charlie. Some people had the most snow today since 2013 and others since 2018. So a lot. It's a little bit early to say whether we're going to have a white Christmas. The main change that will probably happen first is on this Sunday. Our temperature's going to be up by about 5 degrees or so, and it gets a little bit more unsettled next week. But never say never. I'm certainly not going to commit this early, Charlene. But anyway, shall we
Yeah, because
deal
I'm
with the
wondering
elephant in the room?
why you brought the tree in today.
Oh, the tree in the room. It's quite a spiky one, but isn't it beautiful? So last year I did a piece on having an eco Christmas,
Yes.
and part of that was renting a Christmas tree. So we've got pictures of me browsing for said tree last year. It took me quite a while. I was like quite indecisive, and then finally snap to the next bit, and you can see me with my chosen tree. There we go. Look how small it is compared to that
tree.
This is the same tree. So it's with this company called Christmas on the Hill, and they rent them out. And this is Katrina. Do you get it?
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get it.
It took me a while when my husband came up with the name. But here she is. So she's going to come home with me. She is, I don't know if you can see me, guys. She is so heavy. Oh! Oh! The bauble went flying off. She's very spiky as well.
Such a great idea.
No, that's enough of that. Let's take a look at the weather. Here we go.